Greetings, people of the internet. It's Kronda Adair, certified automation service provider and CEO of Carvel Digital, and I am here with Sarah Giffrow from Upswept Creative, web design company. And so we want to talk today about the perils of one-stop shopping, or rather the pros and cons, right? Because you need a lot of things done in your business, and there's a lot of ways that you can get those things done. And at least in the area of software, like I am well known for being mostly against all-in-ones, because I have rescued too many clients from being stuck and trapped on bad software where they don't let you take your data with you, or it's a real pain to try to get it. And rarely can one company or one tool do everything that you need and do it really well. And so I've always taken a best in class approach to software where, we look at what you're doing and we look at where you want to go in your business and what you want to build, and we design a tech stack that works together. Much like you can't hire one person to run your entire company, if you want to do, like, you have different roles, right? And so that's the approach that I've always taken. And so now as I go back to having an agency, I'm kind of thinking about that in terms of the agency. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I went, just this morning, somebody was like, well, I went with this other company because they can do everything. And maybe they can. That's great. But we want to talk about it. So Sarah, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell folks what you do and who you do it for, and we'll get into it.
I'm Sarah Giffrow, and my agency is Upswept Creative, and we focus on websites and social media for ethical and passionate entrepreneurs and nonprofits. Basically, if you're doing good things for other folks in your community, then we're here to help you with that.
Yeah, and I definitely share that sort of mission-driven focus. I really struggled to figure out a niche. Everybody says, "Oh, you need a niche," and when I really looked at who I had been working with, the common thread through everything was like people really gave a shit. No matter what their business was, they were like trying to do some good. So, so you and I have kind of crossed paths over the years. I would love to hear from your perspective about that first project that we collaborated on. This is years and years and years ago. I think I was in year 2 of my business.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the day of, so I was taking photos at that point. The genesis of my business was that it basically sprang out of my side hustle as a photographer while I had been working at a day job doing a website work for a nonprofit. It's an educational nonprofit. Kind of my view on the whole like one-stop shop story is that I was like very much trying to be that at the outset. And you, Kronda, showed up and like, I'm working on this website. They need photos, and I'm like, yes, I can do that. And yeah, on the day of, I think things seemed like they were going pretty well. On the shoot day, it was fine, but then
yeah, it was great. But I think that was one of my first clients from hell. They just like it was like a 2-year shenanigans, but eventually they did launch, actually, and so the photos were amazing. And I think we all go through a phase of trying to be everything to be everything to all people, or be everything to your people. And just recently, actually, I had a client come to me and she was like, oh my God, I love working with you so much. Can you also manage our website? Like, can you, keep things updated and everything? And that's something we used to do. Like when I started my career, I was a web developer, and then I realized I needed recurring revenue. And I was like, well, let me keep your website up to date, and charge whatever, like $100 a month, which didn't actually help because I couldn't live on that. So there's all these things you do to thinking like, oh, if I just give more, then I'll make more money. But doing that doesn't necessarily mean you can do it profitably, right? And so how did you first, like, what was the evolution of you saying like, okay, let me stop trying to do like all of these things and narrow down, and how did you decide?
Yeah, it definitely came in stages, and I think the first thing that really peeled off was the photography piece. Because yeah, I feel like I didn't really get to, spend time, really like honing my craft in any one particular area of like the 11 billion things I was trying to do. So yeah, it felt really stagnant. I kind of fell out of love of with shooting for people. Like I'm still kind of in that space, especially after COVID and everything. But yeah, that was the first thing that I was just like, no, this is too confusing for other people. It doesn't feel fulfilling for me. And so that came off, and then yeah, gradually over time, is like, okay, let's let's not market for branding, let's not market for X, Y, and Z, or print design, or let's just websites and social, and that's it. and
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
has greatly simplified everything. And yeah, I feel like we do a better job because we're like so focused in those areas now.
Yeah. And so I went on this roundabout journey of, doing web development. And I was pretty clear, like, except for the very, very beginning, I would try to like cobble together designs from templates. And then I quickly realized, like, you know what, that's just not my deal. Like, get a designer or come with your branding. And so then I was very focused on web development. And then I kind of just had this sort of breaking moment with a client and realized, like, I didn't want to do done for you for people who didn't understand what actually needed to be done
Yeah.
and weren't willing to take my advice about it. And so then I went to coaching. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do any done for you. Went to content boot camp, which you came through,
Hmm.
and that was going great. And then very quickly, like within the first year, people were like, oh, our technology sucks. Like, we realize like all the reasons why you're excited about this technology, because you can do all this marketing stuff, but our technology sucks. Like, can you help? And so then it became boot camp plus, going back into done for you. And we were sort of in everything in the kitchen sink. And I took everything that I saw people struggling with, and I was like, okay, we'll do these things for you. And so that might be your email marketing, it might be, your website update, still not design.
Yeah.
I would like partnered with some amazing designers. And we were doing that, and that actually worked okay for, I think we did that for 3 years. And I think the reason that it worked is that we did keep within the things that were like within our strong suit, right? Like, we were really good at web development. We were really good at email marketing and automation and, business process. Um, and I think it was just like the economy and the market that really forced us to kind of pivot from that. And when I had to do that, I looked at like, what's the essential thing here? What is the thing that, people are really struggling with, or what are they not taking advantage of? And for us, that thing was marketing automation. And so we really honed in on what are people doing with email marketing automation? And the answer was not much. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I started doing like actual audits of people's active campaign accounts. And I was like, wow, it's like they picked up a DSLR camera and they're just like taking pictures of their cat in their living room. And it's like, but you
Yep.
could do so much more. So that's where we ended up focusing. That was a year ago. We launched CRM to sales. And so that's where we're really honing in on. The problem, of course, is people still need website upgrades. They still need lead generation. They still need advertising. They still need all these things. And
Yep.
so I think what we've been really doing, and I think you as well, is focusing on not like, okay, let me add this back, but like, who can we partner with who's really, really excellent at this? And I remember discovering accidentally that we shared a client.
Yeah.
Right? You did the Float North website. I remember, and I'm a client. And I remember going, I was like, ooh, this is really nice. Like, and then just seeing like your little logo at the bottom, I was like, wait a minute. So I think, it's great that that happens by accident, but getting intentional about it means that clients can come in and say like, okay, well, you're doing this piece, but I still need this and this and this. And what I've been doing over the last, year, 2 years is really cultivating those relationships to be able to say, oh, you need Facebook ads. Great. Let me introduce you to Stacy. You need a website. Let me introduce you to Sarah. And literally cultivating that community. And I think it's the best of both worlds, right? We get to stay in our lane and do what we're really good at, and we get to help our clients because it is the wild west out there. Like everybody has a story where they tried to do their due diligence and hire somebody who said they could do what they could do and then got burned, right? And so having this, we go back like 8-9 years, right, just as business colleagues. And I think when you have that, you can have a higher degree of trust that like you're going to get what you actually need. What are some other kind of partnerships that you're either have developed or are developing like for your clients and things that they need?
Yeah, I think a lot of the go-to things, actually, I've been working on partnering with photographers and videographers because a shocking number of people will come in for, website help or even like if they're looking for any type of marketing help, if they're looking for social, and they will have no images and like, oh, there's nothing that drains my soul more than, having to page through Adobe stock again.
Oh my
And
God, right?
yeah. And I mean, I just want to be out there like showing the real essence of the client that I'm working with and who they are. I don't want to be putting a stock photo out there that hopefully maybe represents them a little bit.
Yeah.
Imagery has been a big one. And yeah, I'm very much looking to you for email marketing automation because as I love systems, but it's also very liberating to be like, no, I don't have to figure this out. Like just because I can doesn't mean I should. Because you've
Yeah,
done it a
totally.
million more times than I have.
Yeah, I mean, for us so our version of images would be copy, of course, because, people
Copy's
come
a
to
big
us
one
for
for me
email
too.
marketing and there's just so many. I think there's a few things. There's the actual getting the copy. And our clients run the gamut from, people who just have ghosted their email list or they're just getting started and they don't really have experience creating their own content to professional copywriters. you know
Yeah.
and so trying to figure out, so we've also been partnering with just there. I feel like there's so many amazing copywriters that are in our network now. And so one thing that I tried to do to help this was like giving people templates. And so we do still provide like templates for people who want them to get their email sequences done. And what I found was that the people who can really run with a template are the people who don't need templates.
Yeah.
Like to take something, and this is probably true like if you're going to DIY your website, right, and you start with a template, like still taking that and turning it into something that's your own is still a skill. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what I found is that, taking something that has a particular voice and being able to look at, okay, this is the psychology of what they're doing, and this is the structure of what they're doing, and this is the content of what they're doing. And now let me adapt that for my own voice. You really have to have a good understanding of your own brand and your own voice to be able to do that. And so I think part of what we already do and what we should continue just is that client education to know like, hey, part of being ready to go and say like, I need a new website is to at least understand that you're going to need some images. And,
Yeah.
then you can
Yeah.
help them with sourcing like an actual photographer or videographer, or whatever else they need. But I think one of the things I try to do a lot is just educate people on what do you actually need to be ready to do this, right?
Yeah.
We can build you the best funnel ever, but if you don't have any traffic, and
Yep.
it's
Yep.
not going to do you any good. So, like, just this week, I had a meeting with a client where we've built out their system and now they need to fill it. So I'm like, great, let me introduce you to Stacy for some Facebook ads. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is just the ability now that this has given us this focus, how we've been able to streamline. And you and I are both working with Kirsten Roldan, who's like best coach ever in $1 Million CEO. So shout out to Kirsten, and talk about like streamlining your service and what it was before and what it is that you're moving towards.
Yeah. Yeah. So the big piece that we're focusing on is delivering brochure websites, and yeah, if you look at our welcome packet right now, it says 90 days, and we are cutting that down to 4 weeks from completion of discovery. And honestly, just thinking about that at first was really terrifying. But then, as I talked it through with my team, I was talking with my project manager, and she's like, okay, how long do you think you need to do a mock-up? And I was like, oh, I can do that in like a week and a half, maybe at the most. And we would just go down the list, and you're like, yeah, I can do that in a pretty short amount of time, actually. And so, all of the experience that we've had over the years going through these longer projects, we've hit upon like basically every scenario of like what holds up a project. And really a lot of that, it feels like a lot of that can be solved with just having really clear expectations at the outset, and having really clear deadlines and boundaries. And that's what's going to help us achieve this much faster delivery, which I'm really excited about. There's,
and everybody's
I want the site to
excited about,
launch.
right? Because people, we all know that person who comes in is like, can I have it yesterday? Well, like, no, but you could have it really quickly. And I will say, like, as someone who started as a web developer, like, I used to redo my own site maybe once a year, once every couple of years. I think the shortest time I did it was 2 days. The longest time that I did it was 2 weeks. So it's not that it takes that long to actually do the work. I think a lot of that delay comes in with, getting deliverables from clients, right? Getting those images, getting that copy. And so putting that on the front end means that you can get a much smoother, faster process and a much cheaper process, because those 90-day projects and beyond, that first project that you did photos for, like, they disappeared for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they came back and they were like, hey, yeah, we need that like now. And I'm like, what? Where you been? Who dis?
Yeah.
So,
I've had that happen too. It's
so I think
like
those
a year plus.
Those expectations are so key. For us, what we've come to is, again, same thing where we had a 90-day project, and I said, well, what is it that's really going to get them the results, right? And that's 2 things for us. That is the welcome sequence and the sales sequence. I know that like 95 or more % of people watching this probably don't have those 2 things in place in their email marketing. And it's so deceptively simple. But when you have those things, it means that everybody who comes into your list is going to get welcomed in. It's like creating a little digital version of you that's like puts them on the red carpet, gives them the tour, and then says, oh, you came in with this problem. Here's how we solve that. And those are 2 sequences. So you're not trying to do everything in one email. You've got 4 emails to welcome people in. You've got 5 or 6 emails to make your case for, here's why, here's how we can solve this problem for you, and here's how to get started. And those are really the 2 most important things. And so to get those things done, like, if we have the copy and we have, everything that we need in terms of understanding your segments and all that good stuff, like, we can do that really quickly. And so I think 4 weeks is a reasonable time frame. And what we've done is we've said 4 weeks from when we get your copy. So you've got, 2 weeks to either like write your emails, which, it's 10 emails. Right?
Yep.
And so you've got 2 weeks to either write your emails or partner with one of our copywriters who can write amazing, conversion focused emails for you. And, as we record this, it's the beginning of Q4. A lot of people are going into the holiday season, which is a big sales season for them. And so if that's you and you're watching this and you're thinking, well, I don't have these things in place, but I'm planning to do Black Friday stuff, or you're running ads already, like, it's astonishing to me the number of people who are running ads who do not have follow-up systems in place. And that's like down from, your mom and pop, like 250K to like, $1 million businesses. And it just boggles my mind. So if that's you and you're watching this, we are here for you. I'm going to put the links up to get in contact with us, because you can fix these problems and you can fix them really quickly.
Yeah.
And actually with that, I do want to put up, if you're in need of a website, or you're in need of a website refresh, or you're ready to upgrade from your Squarespace site to WordPress, any of those things, here's how you can get in touch with Sarah and her team. I want to talk about that a little bit, actually, because I have a fair number of clients who are still on Squarespace. Like, what would
Mhm.
be what would be the reason for them to upgrade? Maybe they're like, you know what? It's fine. I've got a simple site. I've got these pages. I've got a little blog going. Like, why do I even need to do that? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think that I have, dabbled in Squarespace, back in the days when I was still trying to do literally everything. But yeah, I think you're going to get so much more flexibility with WordPress, just in how you're able to present things, how you're able to organize things, like the blogging structure is built in. It's also really well structured for search engine optimization, just like the number of people who come to me and they're like, I just want some help with SEO, which that's another partnership that I'm working on right now, is like SEO specialists. Yeah, we need that.
SEO is like an entire life's work of learning. Like, if
Yeah.
you're going to do it well, like, it's just so much better to just call in somebody who knows what they're doing than try to DIY that. I completely agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, yeah. With it's funny. I was just saying to another. I was on a coffee chat yesterday, and I was just saying, yeah. Every time I land on a Squarespace website, I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is a Squarespace, and I scroll to the bottom. It says powered by Squarespace. Like it has a very specific look, and they really don't like you to color outside the lines at all.
Hmm.
And yeah, and that just leads to you being less memorable, looking like everyone else, following their cookie cutter templates, instead of like having a user experience that reflects your brand and that actually takes your audience through the journey that they need to go on in order to actually book you, actually buy from you.
Yeah. I think from our side, whenever we're dealing with a Squarespace website, it's the integrations, right? Like, just even having, your website is your front door, your landing page is your front door. And so even crafting an experience that looks like professional and just upscaled, like almost all of my clients are so they have so much expertise in their field, and then when you look at the website, like, it's just not reflected there,
Yeah.
in most of the Squarespace sites I see. And so from the presentation perspective, and from the perspective of, even being able to craft a landing page, like, we have to do all these workarounds, because I have also dabbled and tried to, like, figure out some kind of form solution for people just to opt into your list, right? Just to sign up, for your active campaign list. And I'm like, nope, nope, I won't do it. So, like, we have workarounds, but it's just so much easier to just have that front door be the presentation that you want to have, for people's first impression of you. So, so
Yeah.
yeah, if you're thinking about an update, definitely contact Sarah's team. If you need some help with your email marketing, then definitely come and see us. We are looking for at least 3 clients who want to get your marketing system in place, want to get your funnel in place, like in Q4 before the holidays hit, there's still time to do that, and we would love to help you. So and if you watch this on the replay, comment #replay, drop your questions. We'll come back. We'll engage in the chat. And those of you who are watching live, thank you so much for joining us. Sarah, thanks for your time. It's just so good to reconnect with you after all this time.
Thanks for the
Keep
invite.
reconnecting. Yeah. And y'all, stay flexy, and let us know if you need help. And we'll see you on the internet. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks everyone.